One of these cats in this portrait was found crying by the side of a road. Another somehow got into a van and traveled halfway across the country, and that's just the beginning. This portrait was a wedding gift. It came from a family who became friends most unexpectedly through a tiny kitten named Tibi. They were both helping care for her, and over time it turned into a friendship with evenings of card games. And then the idea came to create something that brings together all the animals, all the stories and the bond they share. A portrait of one very unusual and very loved family. I'd like to share their stories while I show you how I drew it. This is Toza, the English bulldog. He passed away, but he was the heart of it all, the one that made their home feels like a family. That's why I placed him in the center. Mile is also an English bulldog. He was rescued from a yard where he was kept in awful conditions. Now he's the boss of the house. Friendly unless you have a beard, then you might get barked at. Lily, a Rottweiler, came from the same place as Mile. She spent her life in a small outdoor box through rain and cold, and it left her with wounds all over her body. She only had 1 year in her new home, but she finally knew what love, warmth, care, and peace felt like. Drawing portrait like this takes a lot of time, heart and patience, but it's stories like this that makes it all worth it. If you enjoy seeing how I bring these memories to life, please consider subscribing, leaving a comment or sharing. It really means a lot to me. You can also find the materials I use and other ways to support my art in the description. Lola is the smallest of the dogs, barely bigger than a cat. Another rescue no one wanted because she needed a hip surgery. But now she's right where she belongs, cheerful and people-loving. She's sitting in the front row here, partly because of her big personality and partly because, well, perspective helps her look a bit bigger. Tibi, honestly, could have her own documentary. She turned up one day just a tiny kitten crying at the door asking for food. She was tiny but very resourceful. They couldn't bring her inside, there were already cats indoors, so they made her a little shelter in the building with a cozy bed. She learned to come when whistled and knew the whole neighborhood, every house, every family. Eventually she chose her own home and her favorite dog, Mile. They used to sleep next to each other, and Tibi spent more time with dogs than cats. And even though she is the smallest, even smaller than the other cats, she somehow ended up ruling the house. She became the queen. She was also the reason these two families met. One was feeding her, and the other gave her a home. Well, she actually chose it herself. Ferdo hitched a ride across Croatia. He was found curled up in their van after a long trip, like he somehow picked the right van, the one that would lead him to people who care. Now he is a big cuddly cat who loves attention. He's a much adored cat. Zagorka was found on a trip to a hilly region called Zagorje. She was a tiny kitten crying by the roadside. She was taken in and grew into a calm, strong type, quiet indoors but doesn't back down from the other street cats. Her markings are like a photo negative of Ferdo's, a perfect match in contrast. Someone in the house secretly calls her their favorite. And this little one is Črnko. Tibi brought him home, quiet and shy, but when you speak to him, he meows back like you are having a proper conversation. Each of these animals came from different places, some from tough beginnings, but somehow they all ended up here together, rescued, loved, and now captured in one image that tells their story. Thanks for being here with me, and thank you to the incredible people who give animals like this a second chance. I'll see you in the next one.